Chris, do you like Moulin Rouge?
That's a good question. What's that guy's name? Bars Luhrmann?
Ewan McGregor.
No, the guy who directed it.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's a Bars Luhrmann. He also did Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. And he just did this Elvis movie.
Oh, did he?
He did Rocket Man, I'm pretty sure.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure. Look that up. Fact check the Elton John one I don't know. Rocket Man.
Elton Beer, Elton John, fact checker.
Elton John fact checker for what?
Who directed Rocket Man?
Elton, if I beat you to the punch.
You're fired.
Nope, director Dexter Fletcher. But anyways, I know for a fact he did Romeo and Juliet.
Oscar Rudolph.
What the hell? What did I pull up?
I'm looking at the Rocket Man.
I'm looking at the 2019 musical drama.
Oh, I'm looking at 1911.
I was not talking about the 1911 film. Anyways, he definitely did Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know. Do I like Moulin Rouge? I guess I would say yes, but not as much as some people do, I guess.
Because I was driving here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just need to cry right now.
Yeah.
You know? You ever do that where it's almost like I'm gonna be gone for a while. I should go to the bathroom first.
Yeah.
And I was just on my way here, and I was like, I'm gonna put on your song by Elton John. I'm just do a quick cry. And I looked up while driving on the freeway.
Ewan McGregor kills him.
And the Moulin Rouge came up, and I was like, by the way, lots of covers of that song,
Yeah.
like an insane amount.
Yes.
And I saw the Moulin Rouge one. I was listening to it. I was like, I know this. I've heard this.
Yeah.
I think Chris really likes Moulin Rouge, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Or he used to. And
Yeah.
if I bring it up on the show, it'll be embarrassing for him. So.
Well, it worked. Yeah, there are. I mean, is Moulin Rouge fresh in your mind?
That song is. I've never seen it.
Okay. Well, long story short, the thing I do like about it is I think it's a very well written movie. The part where I say I do and I don't is that it really, like, I don't know if I'd recommend it to anybody because you have to be open to the Bar Luhrmann part of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the Rocket Man, Elvis, Romeo and Juliet. It's like a very theater kiddie style that I feel like he has. But the basic plot is that Ewan McGregor is a young writer who's fallen in love with like the whole bohemian, life, beauty, that kind of thing, hedonism type deal. Then he moves to Paris in like 1899 or something like that, right at the turn of the century, quote unquote. And the Moulin Rouge is like a club with dancers. There's a man who owns it, who finances it. And there's some sort of duke from somewhere coming into town who's going to finance them putting on some kind of like production, I guess. Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to also be meeting with like a writer, I think. I don't remember exactly what it's something like. Basically, what happens is Ewan McGregor ends up being the one that the boss has his main girl schmooze, thinking it's the Duke, finds out it's not the Duke, but they kind of fall in love, and they end up convincing the Duke. She's supposed to be getting into a relationship with the Duke, like a fake one to kind of like schmooze money out of him for her boss. But they end up like convincing him to give them money for this play that this writer has written, and then spend the whole movie kind of trying to like use the time that they're working on this play to like have the secret affair, right? And the thing that I really like about it is that like the story that he's writing and that they're practicing throughout the whole thing is set in India about a young sitar player who falls in love with a young courtesan who's supposed to be, in a relationship with the Maharaja. And like kind of by the end of it, like the Duke, he's kind of a little like dweeby character with a mustache. At the end, he's like, "You don't think I can see through this? The young Maharaja," that kind of a thing. And without giving too much away, but I think I'm kind of going to spoil it, so turn it off here if you want to turn it off. Not you, but long story short, while that's kind of all going on, there's a point where he's like, they've had a conversation and she's like, "You know what? I'm going to dump the Duke because we have true love." But she gets strong-armed by her boss to keep fucking him. And there's a point earlier in the movie where the Duke talks them into changing the ending because the ending doesn't make sense, that she would choose true love over the Maharaja's money. So that's how they write it. And he's got this one line that he writes about like, and then he throws the money at the courtesan and says, "Thank you for curing me of my ridiculous obsession with love," or whatever, right? So then in the third act, after he feels like he's been wronged by this woman, that she's been cheating on him, he's playing the sitar character on stage for the opening night, and she is playing the courtesan, and he actually says that line, but Ewan McGregor's a fucking acting powerhouse, so he's like legitimately crying and stuff as he like says it to her, like in all seriousness, like, you're a fucking whore, like you've broken my heart, kind of a thing, like right in front of everybody. And the other thing that's going on is she hasn't told anybody, but she also has tuberculosis, and she ends up dying that night, like right there on stage, basically. And the movie's kind of bookended by like him as a writer writing the story of Moulin Rouge. And so it starts in like 1900, a year later, and Paris is not lush and beautiful and full of lights. Instead, it's very dark and decrepit, and he's got a beard, and he's drunk, and he's alone, and writing this at a typewriter. And so then it cuts back to that at the end, or whatever, yada yada yada. And that's kind of what Moulin Rouge does. I think it's pretty decent, but like I said, it also does have. It's a stylized movie for sure. And
yeah,
you got to be down with that, or at least be able to, stomach it to get to what's really good about it. So yeah, I like Moulin Rouge.
I know a lot of people who don't like that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I call them? I say you're a real Moulin Scrooge. Anyway, let's talk about these dumb movies.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
I can never remember the numbers of these movies.
We're on Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. That was the first one we watched. And then we also watched Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. And we're going to talk about them in chronological order. Uh-oh.
Mail time. I say it every week. I got to make a little jingle for mail. And I don't. And it immediately leaves my brain as soon as I say it.
Friday the 13th, Part 5. This one is the Roy one. I really genuinely love this one. 7.5 out of 10.
Chris, what's your history with...
You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. The other day, you were on the phone with your dearly beloved brother, Donald.
Yeah.
Shout out, Donald. How you doing? And he said, I just know at some point, one of you guys is going to give this movie a B. Or one of these movies a B.
Yeah.
And I know it's coming. I thought, Donald, what do you know about anything? I think we watched this movie, and I was like, fuck, I'm going to give this movie... Spoilers. I'm going to give this movie a B+. I love this movie. I've never seen it before. Never heard about it. I think I knew about the Roy thing.
Yeah.
But besides that, nothing.
So, first of all, this movie is directed by Danny Steinman.
Ah, yes. I think he directed Rocket Man?
From 1911.
Okay.
Came out in 1985. This one cost them...
Breakfast Club?
Yeah, this one cost them $2.2 million, and it made them $22 million.
Ooh, a steal. They really got their money's worth.
Pretty much all of these, yeah.
Do you have any history with this movie?
Yeah, this is one I saw a lot, and I loved growing up. Shout out my friend... Michael Weil.
A real pal of yours, yeah. You'll remember till the day you die.
Yes, I need my drum set.
Well, we were friends in the 7th grade. I recently saw him in New York. He's been living in New York since he graduated high school.
You forgot his name? You just saw him in New York City. You forgot his name?
I only lived in Virginia for maybe 2 years, but we were really close.
Yeah, but what I was getting at is you saw him the other day.
Yeah, we were really close. That's probably like the one genuine friend I made in Virginia, and I can remember a very specific memory where my birthday is November 2nd. My sister's is the 5th. So not only would our birthdays be combined, but also because they're within a week of Halloween, it'd always be like Halloween themed. And Michael came to one of those and spent the night at my house, and we watched Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Sorry to interrupt you real quick. You did it before the show because you're a professional, but I'm pulling up the Wikipedia page for this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the NECA action figure for Jason in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this.
Yeah? Why? Okay. They really got Roy's
They
likeness
really got
down.
Roy down.
They got Roy down.
They got the big rubber head down.
For listeners,
Elton. Oh, sorry, go on.
he's this NECA wafer is Roy with his like prosthetic fake Jason head,
Yeah,
but
he wears
his
a
normal face.
Yeah, Elton, he wears a fake Jason head, so no one knows it's him.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. That's probably my only problem with this movie.
Oh my God! You know what we got to do? We've been playing the game pretty frequently the past
We got to get his face mask knocked off to see if it's Roy.
Exactly, that's what I was
Yeah.
getting at. Oh God!
That was going to be the cold open I was going to propose, is that we talk about the game a little bit. But we'll save it. We'll save it.
Okay.
We'll save it. You had that good Moulin Rouge bit. It was fun.
Fuck, this Roy is $50.
Yeah.
Oh God!
But anyways,
I'm gonna go rank Chris. I'm sorry.
right off the rip, one of the things I'm going to say is there's the fucking Danny Steinman quote, which I had heard thrown around all the time, where he said, quote unquote, "I shot a fucking porno in those woods." I didn't know it continued. The next line that I read on Wikipedia just the other day is it's "I shot a fucking porno in those woods. You wouldn't believe the nudity they cut out of that thing."
Yeah, I was saying last week that these movies are like French films to the point where I see so many movies
Yeah.
that I'm just kind of numb to it. And
Yeah.
like at this point, when someone gets naked in this movie, it does not faze me at all.
Yeah.
This one redid it for me. I was like, oh my God, this
A new
person's
beginning
naked
for
too.
real.
This is a new beginning for sure. Like there are so many scenes where nobody needs to be naked. Like someone's like, I'm going to brush my teeth.
Yeah.
Time to take all of my clothes off.
One of the things I want to mention before we even
And-
get into... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, also, I just want to bring up the scene with the girl in the woods. Usually in these movies, people have sex. You see a boob, you see a butt, and then a stab comes. In
Yeah.
this one, they get naked, they have sex, and then there is a 5-minute shot of this woman just laying naked in the woods.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hey, personally, Chris,
It's art.
I think that's too much.
Oh, okay. But anyways, this one in my mind, so this string of Tommy Jarvis sequels predates the Halloween, like Jamie Lloyd, you
Yeah.
know, niece thing. And honestly, I really think 4, 5, 6. You've seen them now. They're better than the 4, 5, 6 Michael ones.
I was gonna say that's debatable, but I think it's apples to oranges.
Okay.
Because I like them for different reasons.
Okay.
I will give it to you.
Do you see where I'm coming from, though?
I do like these a bit better.
Yeah.
I never thought I would say it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hey, remember that Halloween where at the end they catch Michael Myers in a giant net? There's no way they can beat that. But there's some stuff in this that is pretty close to that.
Oh, God. I shot him 6 times. I know that's episode 2, but whatever. Yeah. One of the things, I was just talking to my dad about this. Yeah, it's weird because like I like Halloween 1 through 3 so much. I like those. 2 is spotty, sure, but it's basically an extension of the first one.
Yeah.
And it's fine. That
Got
how
Mr. Sandman in it. It's great.
how bad the sequels get kind of after is just one of those things where it's like, and we've talked about it, I've warmed up to them. I don't necessarily hate them. I'm just saying like starting so high and then just like the slow decline
Yeah.
kind of sucks. Whereas this one starts so shitty, stays pretty shitty, and then out of nowhere, there's 3 that are like really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then, from here, it might get spotty again. I don't know. Well, I do know. I know that Takes Manhattan, Goes to Hell, and Jason X are considered to be some of the worst movies ever made. This next one, where he fights Carrie, I'm not going to preemptively get behind that one and say, hey, it's great. But anyways.
I keep getting so excited because I keep thinking Jason X right around the corner. And then you go, takes Manhattan and he fights Carrie and he goes to hell. I'm like, oh, we got so much longer to go.
We do. Yeah. Again, during that conversation I was having with my dad, he was like, it's fucking September. And I'm like, there's like 12 of these movies. But anyways, this one, yes, you're right. A lot of nudity, which is why the next one we're going to talk about has no nudity.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 reasons, but again, they did want to kind of clean it up a little bit because this one went so overboard. This one also goes overboard, in my opinion, with the swearing.
Oh, yeah. There's so many F words. In it.
And goddamn, and there's even someone who says cunt at one point.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Or like, eat your goddamn slop, you big fucking dildo.
Oh,
like,
my
just
God.
shit like
Chris,
that.
I completely forgot about Elphil, if I'm being perfectly
But we'll get
honest.
there.
Oh.
We'll get there. So we cold open on Tommy Jarvis having a nightmare. We don't know it's a nightmare, but Corey Feldman's back.
We know it's a nightmare. Everybody knows it's a nightmare immediately.
I mean, conventional, but yes. Corey Feldman agreed to come back to this. Apparently, by this point, he was a big star. Was too good to be in the whole thing. But hey, good on him for showing up.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
Good on him for making that bag, for showing up and saying nothing.
Yeah. Also, I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that they shot it in his backyard.
Yeah, they probably had to pay him even more to use his backyard. Corey Feldman was just, if anything, I've always said this.
Yeah.
If nothing else, Corey Feldman's a great businessman.
Yeah. I like Corey Feldman. I do like Corey Feldman. It's very sad what's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a bummer to just look at nowadays.
Yeah. But anyways, in this movie, I can tell there's one piece of evidence that tells me that it's probably Corey Feldman's backyard. The Jason grave is not even underground. It's like a foot above ground.
Yeah, no, there is. Yeah, there's just a pile of dirt on top of a grave.
And like a 2x4 that says J on it.
Yeah.
But anyways, he wakes up, kills a couple of guys, and then he goes to kill Tommy Jarvis. And then, whoa, geez, oh my God. Tommy Jarvis is a grown man in the back of, a caged transport van. And one of the orderlies up in the front seat is looking at porn. Just looking at a porn mag.
Yeah, this was something that really set me spiraling.
Yeah, I think it sets the tone, though.
It sets the tone. But I was thinking about it. If you saw a movie this year.
Yeah.
Where somebody was very casually reading pornography at work around their coworkers, that would be huge.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the...
You know who else does that?
Elton? Is that what you pointed at him?
No. Fox Mulder.
Does he?
Yeah. He's always watching porn at work and stuff and looking at magazines and stuff, yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. That's like one of his big character traits. He loves baseball, he loves sunflower seeds, and he doesn't fuck and sleeps on his couch and looks at a lot of porn.
Cool guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like if you saw it in a movie today, you'd be like, this is morally reprehensible. Like, this is just like, I cannot
Keep the
believe
porn
what
out of
I'm
the
seeing.
workplace.
But I
You're
feel
a brave
like
man for saying okay.
In an 80s movie, when you see someone doing this, it's just to give you the idea that, hey, this guy's just a bit worse than everybody else.
Yeah. And he's a character. He's balding a little bit. He's got a mustache.
He's balding a lot of it.
When he drops off Tommy at the halfway house, he's like, hey, come on out, or whatever. He's like, or just fucking sit there. I don't give a shit, and walks off.
At what point do they say that it's a halfway house that he's going to?
When they go inside, they have a conversation where he talks about how, like, the guy who runs the place is like, hey, I'm not going to tell you when to go to bed. This is like an honor system and stuff like that. And they just kind of, like, softly, I think, say it throughout the whole thing. I don't know if it's ever, like...
I did not pick up on it.
Yeah.
I might have been just too distracted by all the shit that guy had in his office.
Yeah. Like a picture of John Lennon and also a big banner that says, stop the family tradition. And then at the little bottom, you can see, like, end child abuse.
Yeah. And so all these kids kept showing up to this place, and I was like, I had to look it up. I was like, where the hell are all of these kids at?
Yeah.
Like, this is very clearly is not a camp.
Yeah.
And
that's something interesting to think about. It really hasn't been a camp since, like, the second one, because the third one was a bunch of friends on vacation.
Yeah.
The fourth one was, Corey Feldman and the teens just kind of renting a cabin, and they live in the cabin just to hang out for the weekend. And then this one is a halfway house. So it hasn't actually been a camp counselor situation until 6. But we'll get to that in 30 minutes.
All right. So yeah, halfway house.
Yes.
We get introduced to our cast of characters.
Yeah.
Who I don't remember.
There's a guy who has a stutter.
There's a guy with a stutter.
There's a lady who's never paying attention because she's too busy listening to her headphones.
Yes. There's the goth girl.
Yes.
There is Chocolate Bar Kid.
Chocolate Bar Man, yes.
Son of Roy, I like to call him.
Son of Roy.
There is Tommy Jarvis.
Tommy Jarvis.
There is
Angry X.
There's the Nazi, yeah.
Yes.
There is girl...
Reggie the Reckless.
How did I forget Reckless? Oh my God, Reggie.
And his Uncle George.
And his Uncle George, my favorite characters in this movie.
Uncle George.
I can't even say that because I love everybody in this movie.
Uncle George has big time Vincent Price vibes.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would have definitely, I mean, rest in peace. I'm only assuming because of how old he is. He's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
But if I would have been a little bit older and working in the movie business, I would have definitely snagged that guy to do Vincent Price readings.
Let's remake every Vincent Price movie with this guy.
With George. George Reckless.
There's George and George Reckless. There is girl that Stutter Kid likes.
Yeah, she seems the least troubled. I don't know what her. She doesn't like. Everybody else has like an over the top kind of trouble.
Yeah, I don't know
gimmick,
what her deal is.
but she doesn't seem to have one.
There is.
Oh yeah, there's the couple who are just always grab assing.
Yes. There's grab ass couple. There is man who runs place.
And Pamela, who's her.
Is her name Pamela?
It's Pam, yeah.
Pam. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyone's
Reggie's always yelling, Pam, Pam.
Yeah, and
That's
Pamela,
my girlfriend, Pam.
who also runs the place.
Yeah.
And everyone's at this house. I don't think Tommy Jarvis was there that day of shooting because everyone's outside doing stuff and it just keeps cutting to a close-up shot of him through a bedroom window.
Yeah.
They're all outside. The cops show up with grab-ass couple. And they're like, hey, listen, you got to keep these kids in line. I like what you're doing here. I like what everything is going, but can you imagine if Ethel found these kids? And then Ethel and her big dumb son roll up on a motorcycle and start just jabbering.
Yeah, she's kind of like the lady who becomes the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? When she's like, if I catch this dog in my yard one more time, I swear I'll barbecue him and I'll eat him. I'll eat him
Yeah,
for lunch.
that's a great way to put it. She's a modern day witch. By modern day, I mean 1980. And she's just dirty and grimy, and so is her son. And
I know, I love that they're covered in dirt.
yeah, just always. And I was like, I kind of don't like this lady. But by the end of this conversation, I'm like, I love this lady. Because
Yeah.
the cop's like, listen, Ethel. And she's like, no, fuck you,
Yeah.
officer. And then, she's just like basically almost up to spits in this cop's face.
Yeah.
And
She's
then
like, you got to close this loony bin.
yeah, she's like, I don't like you. I don't like any of you. I don't like these kids grab assing on my lawn.
Yeah.
You fuck. If I see you again, I'm going to blow your head off. And
Yeah.
then she gets on the back of her sudden spike, flips them all off, and then drives away. And I'm like, Ethel's my favorite.
Yeah.
That happens every time a new character's introduced in this movie. I'm like, this person's my favorite.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You like this Tommy Jarvis.
I do. I like him
Yeah.
more than the next Tommy Jarvis.
He's quiet. It kind of reminds me of like a precursor to like what they end up doing with Jamie Lee Curtis's character. He's very reserved. He's always watching. He's still haunted by it. He's obviously learned kung fu. He's concerned.
Is it obvious though that he's learned kung fu?
That's what I actually kind of like about it a little bit. I like that they don't do it over the top, like where it's
just
like he
knows
says.
kung fu.
That's what I like, though. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that they don't ever go like he never says anything like for the last 15 years. It's all I can think about. I've taught myself how to fight. I hide guns. Like, you know what I mean?
And I
It
make
just he
masks
just
still.
kind of he just is ripped in the beginning. You're like, what's going on, Tommy Jarvis? And then he can fight, and you're like, oh my god, that's
Yeah,
that's
he is disgustingly ripped.
Yeah,
he's like
shredded.
Kumail Nanjiani ripped.
yeah,
like,
shredded.
like
Yeah.
like from what I've read, it is not easy or pleasant to maintain that level of
No.
ripped at all for even like a day.
No.
Like you have to get that cut.
Yeah.
You have to dehydrate
Dehydrate
yourself for
yourself,
a
yeah.
couple days before that movie shoots.
Oh yeah.
And for Friday the 13th Part 5.
Luckily,
bless him.
he's only
Not
got his
Corey
shirt
Feldman
off
did
that
it.
one time. Luckily, I'm
No,
assuming.
I think he does it again.
Does he really?
I think so because I remember the second time being like, God damn, look at the shoulders on that guy too. Oh my god.
But anyways, he hangs out with Reggie for a second because I think Reggie gives him a spook with the spider. I
Yes.
actually like Reggie's line here. He says something like, he's like, what, you scared of spiders? And he doesn't say anything. He's like, you scared of rubber spiders? You scared of rubber spiders on string?
It's great. I love Reggie.
Man, what is going on with you? That kind of a thing.
Also, Reggie, coolest haircut anyone in this movie.
Yeah.
Love it. And then Tommy turns around and turns back around, and he's got his rubber mask on. Because guess what? He still makes masks.
Yeah, he does.
The
A little
most
bit of continuity.
most baffling part about any of these movies to me is Tommy Jarvis makes Halloween masks in his free time.
Yeah.
Whenever anybody finds out, like specifically the conversation with Risky goes, man, why are you so protective of these?
Yeah.
It's not like you made them. He's like, I did make them. He's like, oh, cool, man. Everybody is so impressed by him making rubber masks.
Yeah.
It's
How in the world would
it is
you?
more unbelievable than a boy beast who lives in the lake to me. Like I cannot imagine anyone being like, yeah, and in my free time I make these really detailed, really well done Halloween masks.
Yeah.
I cannot think of me or anybody in the world giving half of a shit about that.
Hey, Elton, you want to weigh in?
If you knew
On.
if you knew somebody who made like really high quality Halloween masks in their free time, is that impressive to you?
Unlike the words of Shania Twain, that does impress me much. I don't know. That's pretty cool.
All right, you can sit back down.
Okay. That wasn't bad.
Except for Elton, I don't think anybody would give a shit about it.
Okay.
That's pretty neat. I don't know. I'm baffled at how you would even go about making a
I was just going to say that as I was trying to interject with. I was like, I don't even know how you'd go about
You
making
have to
it.
make a negative mold and then like cast,
Yeah.
pour in rubber. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Is it?
To me,
Is
it's
it?
artistic.
I just think it's just so it's.
I didn't mean to trump card you with Elton. My bad.
Well, you really did.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, he makes these stupid masks that we all agree suck ass. Go on.
You can cut me out.
Oh, I will.
Good.
Anyways, so then basically what happens is the orphan child who loves chocolate bars goes to hang out with goth girl and girl who seemingly I can't tell what
She's
her
there for
trouble
fun.
is. Yeah. And they're doing laundry and he gets chocolate over the laundry and they're like, son of Roy, get out of here.
Also, should we bring up that Son of Roy is a very offensive stereotype of a mentally handicapped person?
Yeah, we can touch on that, yeah.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
He's like Rosie O'Donnell in that one movie.
What movie?
Oh, I can't remember what it's called. You know what I'm talking about, Alden?
I think so.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Well, you
It's
look it
like-
up.
I'll look it up.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah.
Earn your keep. Go on.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely. yeah,
and he
not
looks like
aged
Rosie
well.
O'Donnell, and it
Yeah.
just sucks. I hate it.
Yeah.
But
But he offers a chocolate bar to the Nazi, and the Nazi axes him in the back.
Yeah, that's right.
Gets murdered.
Yeah,
Which
Yeah.
surprised you.
it really did because
Yeah.
it happens. It feels like the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, this man who's a Nazi because he wears this like studded. He wears a tank top and a studded leather band around his arm.
Yeah.
And he's got one of those leather belts with like the hoops all over it.
Yeah.
So this guy for sure
Yeah.
Nazi.
He seems like he'd have a little Dirty Harry speech in his back pocket about how he hates everybody, especially.
Yep.
And
yep,
he'd probably say
yep.
a couple of slurs.
Absolutely. And so he kills Son of Roy, the orphan Son of Roy, who brings up to everybody he's an orphan
Yes.
a couple times.
Yeah.
And then this part gets me. This part really gets me. I was thinking about it while watching it, and I was like, oh, they'll probably explain it later. They don't.
Yeah.
There's no explanation why Roy is this guy's dad,
Yeah.
but also thinks that he's an orphan.
Yeah.
Because Roy gets called.
Well, here's what I'd reckon. I'd reckon, inside of the context of this movie, because of the developmental problems he has,
Yeah.
I wonder if he just shipped him off to the home, but wanted to kind of like helicopter a little bit. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because he's
Like
got a
that
very
happened to-
current, and by current I mean a
Yeah.
still from this
So
movie
I wonder if,
picture of him and his
Yeah,
wallet.
because like something that happens sometimes, I know with like orphan kids, is they'll sometimes send kids they'll send pictures to like the parents still. Like that's the kind of level of contact they'll want to have, is like they'll still be in touch with like the agency. So maybe like the halfway house is just like, hey, son of Roy, we got to get a picture for you real quick. And he's like, what for? And they're like, oh no, you just think you look really good today. And then they send Big Roy pictures.
What's it called?
The Rosie O'Donnell movie is called Riding the Bus with My Sister.
Yes, it's crazy offensive.
Yeah. and
Well, I'm
Andy
gonna
McDowell is her
have
sister.
to check that out.
Yeah, I'll show
Riding
you-
the bus with my sister.
I'll show you some clips later.
Okay. All right. But anyways, you're right. Yeah, they really don't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, like, and my thing is, Roy is there because they call the paramedics, and Roy's one of the paramedics.
Yes.
And Roy is pretty chill the entire time, has no idea what's going on. He would know his son is there, yeah?
Yeah.
And
Well, no, he
looking at
does.
the
Having the context, like the way the actor plays it, he's just like dumbfounded, staring, like, and like the other paramedic is like, geez, what a bunch of pussies and stuff like that. Like, look, you never seen a dead body. Roy, get your hands on this and stuff like that. And like the whole time I was like, oh yeah, they set it up, because I was trying to think like,
Well,
oh, go ahead.
that's what I'm getting at. He's dumbfounded when they
Yeah.
remove the sheet. I'm saying on the way there,
Yeah.
he would probably be like, fuck, this might be my son.
Yeah.
While standing out there seeing a person under a
Yeah.
sheet and then everybody else beside his son standing there.
Yeah. Well, no, I think what it is at the end when they reveal that he has son of Roy is his son. I think they say that he kept to himself. He didn't really tell anybody about his life, and nobody knew that Roy was his.
Yeah.
Son of Roy was his. Yeah.
But that doesn't explain the way that Roy is acting before they pull the sheet off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
Like he's trying to keep it.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I'm saying he's keeping it under wraps still.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But anyways, yes. So this axe happens, not Jason
True.
from the rip.
Fun fact: Jason kills
Jason?
0 people in this
Zero
movie.
people in this movie. From there, after the axing has happened, we go to, is this when it hard cuts to Mustache Man doing coke and calling Lana out? Or do we have a little bit more at the... Oh, nope. Before, that is one of the next things that happens, but before we get the two greasers.
Oh,
With their broken down car.
And yeah, you said this before we watched it. I don't think it's nearly as good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But this thing has huge heaping vibes of Twin Peaks.
Yeah. It feels like if they hadn't canceled Twin Peaks after season 2 and they just kept letting them
it would be this movie,
flounder
Which
around.
is wild, because this movie came out before it, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were talking about how weird it is that the 80s are obsessed with the 50s, and now in the 20s we're obsessed with the 90s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy how time works, huh?
Time do be kind of weird like that, huh?
Anyway, so these two greasers are trying to fix a car.
They are.
They're yelling at each other.
The one gets murdered or whatever. I don't know. That's fine. That's all well and good. I'm more interested in the guy who goes off to take a shit in the woods and then comes back and his friend's like murdered in the hood and he's sitting there and he's like singing this song as he's turning the car over. He's like, nope, it's not fucking working. You fucked up again. I'm going to fucking kick your ass if you don't get this fucking car running. Come on. Like, so, I don't know. It just kills me. This guy kills me.
I love that guy.
His
hat's funny.
It is very funny.
I love his little song, and I also love that he goes, I'm going to go... Favorite line in this movie. Yeah. He goes, I'm going to go take a crap. And his friend goes, crap my ass.
Yeah.
But he goes into the woods and then walks 2 miles into the woods to find a place to crap.
Oh, yeah. As if he thinks he might stumble across the toilet. That's how long he was.
Or just something cool to poop on.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, from there, we meet the guy who dropped off Tommy Jarvis that was looking at a porno mag. He's now driving a bitchin' Camaro. It's not a Camaro. But he's got a bitchin' Camaro, and it's red, and he's wearing a leather jacket, and he's balding, and he's got a mustache, and he does coke. And him and Lana, this is another scene that kind of gives me little Twin Peaks vibes. Because she's like, you know, what do you have? And he's like, I want takeout. And she's like, okay, what do you want? And he's like, I'll have Lana with nothing on her. And he's like, She's like, I got to check in the back and see if we've got it. Oh, yeah. Okay, you can have one. Like, I don't know. But anyways, she goes inside, does her makeup, and
takes off her shirt.
She could pull her titty out. So yeah, her titties come out.
And she says something along the lines of, woohoo, look at my titty.
She does say something like, Lana, you are hot. Yeah. Then someone throws a cat at her, very obviously, and then we cut back out to porno mag guy.
I'm sorry, I can't. It's very clearly supposed to be a classic horror movie shot where a cat jumps in somewhere. Yeah. But you can very clearly see the cat is thrown against something and goes, "Oh fuck! Why would you do that?" and then runs away.
How many times do you think they shot that? Because it gives me the vibes like they picked up the cat so much the cat didn't want to be picked up anymore. So like, I don't know. Anyways, whatever. We'll move past the cat. He's out there doing coke, waiting for Lana. Lana don't come. He get murdered. Then Lana do come. She get murdered.
There's these great shots of Jason against like all this neon lighting and stuff in this parking lot. It's great. I love it.
Oh yeah, and then there's that one shot that you were like, oh, it's really Twin Peaksy, where it like starts and it's just the pavement with Lana's arm laying on it and it's drenched in the red neon, and then it like slowly pans out to like her just dead in the in the parking lot.
I really like this movie for the most part. There are some shots that are like, oh, that sucks, but there's a couple of like pretty impressive, like, oh, this looks really good. Yeah. Way more in the next movie, and we'll get to that. But I was pretty impressed by this one.
I agree.
And then we go from them dying to
your favorite scene in the entire goddamn movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is
the mayor coming in and the sheriff saying, I think Jason Voorhees is back.
Is it the mayor?
I think that's what he is. He's supposed to be the mayor.
We'll call him the mayor.
Yeah.
It is such a boilerplate classic scene from like a slasher or a horror movie.
Yeah.
Mayor comes in and goes, we got to find out what's going on with all these killings. And the sheriff goes, oh, I'll fucking tell you. It's Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
And the guy who plays the mayor is so supremely over the top, but like just to a level where it's perfect.
Yeah.
And like, I almost want to look it up because I want to get right exactly what he says. But he's like, Jason's cremated.
Yeah.
All right. There's no way this is Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
And the sheriff's like, last time we saw something like this, it was Jason Voorhees. And I don't know. Did you see him get cremated? Did you see his body? Do you know he's dead? And the mayor like gets chest to chest with him and picks up an ashtray next to him and pours the ashes into his hand. And he goes, this is your Jason. Yeah. And then he slams ashtray in his hand. He goes, figure it out, and then leaves, or whatever he says. And it's so good. I love it. Like, I was blown away. I was like, this is such an awful, boring scene. Yeah. But this guy just kills it. He's just chewing up all the scenery. It's just the thing with the ashtray is what got me the most. Yeah. But, it's so
No, but he is good because he, like, talks with his hands, and he's very loud. He doesn't just come in there stiff, like normal white guy that's like, Sheriff, you better figure out what's going on in this town. You're very right. This character, this actor gives this character so much.
Like, I'm looking it up right now, not to be able to recite it, but I just want to see this right now. It's so good.
I also just want to see if we can, maybe credit the guy, like give him a little shout out.
Yeah. You look up his name, I'll look up the scene.
Mayor Cobb. His name is Rick Mancini. You give me a goddamn live suspect.
Yeah, like, just everything. We're back, by the way. Everything from, like, just right at the beginning where he's like, this is a small town. And he just takes his hands out and brings them back in. Yeah. Or when he's like, I know who it is. And then he's like, puts his hand behind his ear. He goes, what?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love him so much. He's like, I can't even explain it. He's just so, God, I love him.
Then we talk. We see the grab-assers.
Grab an ass.
Grab an ass, and you get 5 minutes of her looking up at the trees with her boobs out.
Mm-hmm.
And
he goes to take a crap in the woods.
I think he's going to wash his dick in the river.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And yeah, this is going to be one of the rare times where I bring up a Jason kill. The effect is whatever. But he stabs her in the eyes with an open shears, each eye getting a shear, and then he closes it. That's pretty... Ugh.
Yeah.
That's gross for me.
I thought about
that was gross.
Seeing it when he like flips her body over and she's got the cut like across her eyes. I was like, oh, I ain't never seen that shit. That's good.
Yeah.
Anyway. Grab ass, dead.
Yes.
Then Ethel, maybe?
Reggie begs his grandfather for a visit to his brother Demon.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Risky wants to go see his brother who lives in a van in a trailer park.
He does. And
he dresses like Michael Jackson.
Yes. But you're right. I think it is cutting out one time that it shows them and they're going back and forth. He's eating the slop and she's like, I makes the best goddamn slop. And he's like, that's right, Mama, you make the best goddamn slop, whatever. And he keeps just like yesing her to the point where she's like, oh, just shut the fuck up and eat your goddamn slop, you big dildo. Yeah. And it's just a lot of over the top. You got anything about Ethel? You just want to revel in it?
I just want to revel in it. I love. She's like, why don't you shut the fuck up? You don't know nothing. Why do you keep talking? He's like, I don't know, Mama, because I don't know nothing.
Yeah. It's good. It's fun. They're covered in dirt. What more can I say? You know what they give? They give me kind of like Wyndham Earl vibes or something.
Yeah, kind of.
Especially when he's like dirty and just living in. But anyways,
I always forget about whenever anyone brings up Wyndham Earl. I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah. But anyways, we do go hang out with Demon. That guy is swagged out.
The brother?
Yeah.
He's in there just like
bitchin' haircut,
wearing sick leather jacket.
Yeah.
Just with a lady in there.
Rings. Yeah.
He's like, hey, what's up, little brother? And he's like, hey, man, what's up? This is my girlfriend, Rebecca. And he's like, cool, old lady, you're banging my little brother who's 9?
Yeah.
And they just kind of hang out, which is strange. It just seems like a strange thing for all of them to do with Pam there.
Yeah.
And then, they bring Tommy.
They do.
For some reason. Tommy beats the shit out of someone earlier.
He did, yes, because the grab-ass boy tried to scare him with a mask, yeah.
And then they're like, you know what? Let's bring you out into the world now.
Yeah.
And
we need to get you away from here.
They're hanging out with Risky's brother, and Tommy's waiting by the truck, and here out of nowhere comes Ethel's big dumb son.
Well, first we should mention that for some reason, there's like a solid 45-second scene where he's just slowly being more and more entranced by this blue neon sign that he walks towards.
Oh, yeah. Just the siren
it's a long
call
shot.
Of the trailer park gets him.
It really is a long shot.
It really is.
And he's just transfixed.
Yeah, I forgot about that because nothing happened, so my brain was like, don't remember that.
Yeah.
And then Ethel's big dumb son comes by and he goes, hey, you're one of those crazies.
Yeah.
And Tommy just, again, beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then he goes, whoa, and he drives all the way home.
Yeah.
To his mama.
And he starts doing donuts in his yard and just going, he hurt me, mama.
And his mom's like, shut up and eat this soup. And he's like, he hurt me. And it's so loud and it goes on for so long.
It's a very loud scene that goes on forever.
And then Jason kills him.
Roy
kills him and then Roy kills mom.
Yeah. Also, mom making stew at like 9 o'clock. That shit's got to cook for like hours to get the vegetables soft and whatnot. What's she doing? She should have started that,
And she's
in the earlier scene.
Yeah, she's like, I made you dinner. What if she was just
stirring it in that?
Yeah, she's like, I made you dinner, and she's like throwing her hands in it in the sink, and it's like, you want him to eat raw? You want him to eat some? She's making him. Oh fuck, what's it called? What's cold soup called?
Oh,
Gazpacho. Of course, remember when we watched the movie and I nailed that joke first time? First go. I remember what gazpacho was immediately.
Yeah. Speaking of, I wish I knew what it was called, but the other day I was hanging out with my friend and he ate at Balkan House. And he got something that not only me, but someone else, in all seriously, not doing a bit, we were like, did you say you ordered jalopy? But he didn't order jalopy. I wish I knew what the thing was called.
Gelato?
No, it was like, it's some kind of like sandwich. But it's not called jalopy, but it's something like that. What's that?
It's not the same thing. But that's
No, it's not. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, they get murdered. Does Roy chop off Junior's head like as he's riding by on the dirt bike? Is that what happens?
Mm-hmm.
And then he just kind of chops Mama in the face. Yes. So then I think it says Pam and Reggie realize like Tommy's gone. They go to look for him, whatever, go back to the halfway house or whatever. And Demon is like, oh, those damn enchiladas, they got me, or whatever, and he runs off.
Yeah.
And for the second time in this movie, someone takes a shit.
And his girlfriend comes out there and just starts harmonizing.
They go,
with him.
hey, baby.
Yeah, they just start doo-wopping while he's taking a poop.
Ooh, baby.
And then Royson comes and kills him.
Royson does, yes, kill. He does do kill, yes. Demon meets his end in the steel shit house.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
we go back to the halfway house, and Pam and Reggie are kind of like,
oh, because they're looking for Tommy, because Tommy ran off.
And then when they get there, the goth girl is like, yeah, well, also like other man who runs this place is gone, and we haven't seen grab-assers in a long time. And Pam's like, all right, everybody go inside. Reggie, you go to bed. I'm gonna go try to find somebody.
Stutterman, you're in charge.
Yeah, and we get like a little bit of everybody hanging out. Everybody gets killed off, whatever. But
finish your sentence.
Oh, but basically, like the one girl and Stutter are like watching a movie together, and the goth girl goes upstairs to dance, and Reggie
she does.
Reggie does fall asleep, and that's pretty much what they're doing at the house.
George.
I believe the boy who stutters I believe his name is Jake. And I believe the girl who seemingly is untroubled is Robin. And I think the woman who loves music is Violet. Jake professes his love and horniness for Robin.
He says, I would like to make love with you.
Yeah, and she laughs at him.
And at first I was like, because he goes upstairs and he cries.
Yeah.
I feel real bad for him. And I'm like, God, what a bitch that other girl is. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, no, that's fine. I get it. Like, thinking about it, I was like, yeah, it's not her job to make him feel better about this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't laugh in someone's face, but also at the same time.
Yeah.
Read the room, Jake. Yeah.
He gets murdered. She takes her top off and gets in bed to sleep topless, and also gets murdered.
In the other room, Violet's doing the
robot dance. Yeah, she's dancing. Gets murdered by Roy. Then we get to basically...
yeah, because I was like, you see her at first, and she's just like bobbing back and forth in her room.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, she's dancing. And you're like, oh, she's going to be dancing later. And I was like, she's going to get naked and dance. And then I was not expecting it. You cut back to her, and she's just very doing a very good job at doing the robot, if I do say so myself.
She's dancing like a robot. Dances for a while. But Pam ends up being the one who is like kind of the final girl-ish. I mean, 3 people survive Roy's attack.
Yeah.
But she gets chased by Roy for a long time. It's raining a lot. You can see her boobs the whole time. More gratuitous boobies. They end up in a barn in a scene that reminds me of part 3. That's part 3, I think, right? Where Jason gets hanged.
And yeah, there's a shot where he comes to I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but they're hiding in the barn, and he comes and he stands in the doorway of the barn, and it's raining outside, and he's a little backlit and stuff like that. And I don't know what it is. The shot is just almost really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, something about it, it's like too far, there's too much headroom.
Yeah.
I don't know enough to tell you why it's not great, but just something about it hurt me, because I was like, oh, this is almost so good.
Yeah, I think, I know it's Roy at this point, but I think A New Beginning, maybe episode the 4th one, but definitely New Beginning in 6. Jason's starting to have a lot more of that like classic movie monster vibe to him.
Yeah, and I really like it.
Yeah, So we jump ahead into the barn, but to backtrack for a second, there's a point where Pam is about to meet her demise at the hands of Roy, and Reggie bursts through the barn in a big yellow
like digger excavator,
yeah, whatever.
Just some weird construction equipment that they should not have at this halfway house.
And drills Roy right in the stomach. He's got a big old gash in his tummy for the rest of the movie. They fuck around in the barn for a long time. He's chasing all three of them. They get up to the top bits, and they knock him down into some spiked
Tommy's here
piece of metal that I don't know what this spiked piece of metal would actually be used for.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But he falls onto it, and the reveal that it's Roy happens. And there's this weird thing where like the prosthetic part is always what sits weird with me.
Yeah, he's got a big rubber head over his head.
He prosthetics
except
Jason's
his face.
Because like it's one of those things where that works if it's Tommy Jarvis that's made the mask, because he makes masks.
That's a great point.
You know what I mean? And it's almost like there must have been a draft where it was supposed to be Tommy Jarvis, and they're like, nah, make it Roy. But then they never fixed the part where Roy also knows how to make masks, I guess?
Yeah, like it...
Or like, how about this? Even just have like, maybe Tommy Jarvis was making the masks, and he made one of what he remembers Jason looking like for some fucked up reason, and like Roy steals it or something.
Yeah.
But something. Because it's weird to me.
The biggest thing that gets me about the mask is it's not a mask. It's a mask and a rubber head that excludes the face.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to go to this extent and you are making this big rubber head, you'd make that one piece.
And so we get to the end here, and we've already talked about it a bit. Pam and Tommy are in the hospital, and a cop comes up to Pam and explains the twist and says like, yep, it was Roy, chocolate bar boy was son of Roy. And he's getting revenge because of the murder that happened, right? So here's the thing.
Here it is, folks.
Why dress up like Jason? Because everybody that saw you dressed as Jason is going to be murdered, so that... You know what I mean?
What I would guess is if he didn't get away with this, or didn't get away with it, if he missed somebody, or somebody got away from him, they would say... It was Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying foolproof plan?
Foolproof plan. No problems that I see.
Okay.
If it wasn't for those damn kids.
Yeah. And that kind of wraps... Oh, no, it doesn't. We got that whole Tommy Jarvis stuff where he sees Jason for a minute, but he faces his fear and Jason dissipates. But then he finds Jason's mask in a drawer because I guess he stole it.
He finds Roy's mask.
Roy's mask. And that's another thing we should mention that's a dead giveaway, that it's not Jason. It doesn't have the X mark.
True. It's a new mask. It's blue.
Yeah. And we'll get to that later.
Will we?
We will get to that.
Okay.
Yes. But anyways, and then it has some kind of weird ending where he stabs her. No, that was a dream. Right?
But then it comes back and it's not a dream.
And he throws a chair out the window, or did that happen during the dream part?
No, he wakes up. She comes in, he's out the window, and she goes, ugh, and then the door closes behind her, and he's behind the door with a knife and the mask on.
And then it ends, with him holding it up there, Psycho style.
Yeah.
And then roll credits, end picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
These movies really do have a bad habit of not knowing when to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end specifically.
All right, so how to quit.
From the beginning, they had a great ending. Boy comes out of the water, pulls him down. Then she wakes up in the hospital. Why?
Yeah.
Why wake up in the hospital? You know what I mean? Same thing with this. Like, why tease the Tommy Jarvis is going to become Jason thing again with this weird scene?
Yeah, I don't... And, like, I feel like there isn't even... To be fair, I did go into it knowing it was Roy.
Yeah.
But I feel like at no point in this movie do they make you try to think that it was Tommy.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. That was kind of their intent, was to like have it be like, is it the axe guy from the beginning? But then they don't allude to it. Like, if that was supposed to be one of the options, then like, why not something of the sheriff being like, that guy escaped? And yeah, same thing with Tommy Jarvis. That's what they're trying to do with the whole like, where's Tommy thing. And then when they find the dead bodies, Reggie does, it's in Tommy's room. So there are little things, but you're right. They definitely don't. Yeah, like they definitely don't lean into it enough. Like they're trying to do the murder mystery thing, but
they aren't, because at the same time they're trying to convince you the entire time
that it's Jason. Yeah.
So they just don't really know what they want to do.
Yeah.
That being said, love this movie. I think it's great.
Yeah, this is one thing I want to say is as a bit of praise is like it's entering into, and from the beginning it has been this, but it's entering into the phase where like everybody's a caricature, but wow, do they do a good job of making it memorable? Like it's not one of those things where like, you know, when you see like a modern movie that's like trying to soft spoof the slasher, it's like, oh, I'm the Chad and I'm the stoner, right? But with this one, you don't necessarily have those classic archetypes.
Yeah.
They just choose archetypes, but they aren't like the cliched ones necessarily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're genuinely
Yeah.
yeah, they're just memorable. They're genuinely memorable, you know? Like I remember Demon and his enchiladas, you know. I remember the porno mag mustache man who does coke.
Yeah, you get grandmasters, you get stereotypical 80s African American people, you get greasers. It's just a weird plethora of stereotypes. It's great. It's great.
And overall, go ahead and give it your rating.
Chris, I'm going to give this one a B+.
You're going to give this one a B+? I think this one I'm going to have to put at, because I have to factor in, goddamn, you know, I might do the same thing.
Hell yeah, baby.
I might do the same thing. So I guess I'm giving it a B+.
Great. Love it.
I feel so wrong.
Yeah, but it feels so right, Chris. Crap my ass.
Crap my ass indeed. Well, we watched another movie.
Oh, are we going to do the drip list later?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I did that last time, too. Thanks for reminding me. All right, Friday the 13th, Part 5. Here are my little, what do we call, what do we want to call them? Like, questions from Crystal Lake or something?
Not
or
bad.
That
reminds me.
Sure.
The thumbnail we have up for the last video?
Yeah.
We got to get rid of that.
Yeah, it's not very good.
I saw it the other day. I was
like, all right. Jason's drip. I have to start off and say, not my favorite. Mm-hmm. The mask is a little big for the face, and also he's just wearing Michael Myers' one piece.
It's a great point.
So, is it the worst thing I've ever seen? No, but at this point, it's kind of like almost... It reminds me of the Halloween sequels where it's just clearly like they went out and bought an overall and they bought a new mask, and it just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
he still looks good.
I like the blue.
You like the blue?
Honest.
Yeah.
I like just that little change, yeah.
Okay. Vibes of this one, I think, have been addressed by the people. Like, the people are really... Like, whereas earlier in the movie series, I was arguing that, like, just the... Like, especially, like, that's, like, the first one. Like, there's so many shots to me that just, like, seem like Norman Rockwell paintings.
Yeah.
It's more so, like, the actual setting that has all the character.
Yeah.
But by this one, the characters have the character.
Yeah, and also so does the setting. Like I said, like especially that shit outside of the diner.
Yeah.
Great, love it.
Yeah. So I would have to say, if I'm trying to describe the vibes of this one, I think we've hit the nail on the head that it is like almost like a forgotten pitch for like the half shot of an episode of like season 3 immediately following season 2 Twin Peaks. Like really still lost the plot, just floundering. But yeah, it's kind of got like soft, grimy, like trauma-ish Twin Peaks vibes. Like
absolutely. And I'm here for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's the strongest thing that this movie has going for it is just that stuff. The stuff that kind of doesn't even involve Jason necessarily.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because the Jason stuff does kind of tank it. Overall ranking, where does this fall? For right now, you have 4, 2, 3, 1.
I'll put this right under 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like 4 and Crispin Glover just a little bit more, but ooh, I still love this one.
I almost might be so bold as to put it up top.
Yeah, Chris, after I said it out loud, I remembered Ashtray Guy. I'm putting this one at number 1.
Okay. So yours now goes 5, 4, 2, 3, 1. And mine goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Great.
Yeah. Favorite character? This is a tough one.
This is the toughest.
So many good characters.
Honorable mention to the mayor.
Honorable mention, rare. Okay, yeah, fair.
And even
fair.
more honorable mention, silver medal goes to Risky. I'd say my favorite character might be George. Might be Risky's
really?
Favorite, but yeah.
I was gonna say, Little Reggie Reckless is probably my note. That's my guy.
Great.
I
love Little Reggie Reckless.
Oh yeah, I love
but
Reggie.
I love his grandpa a little bit more.
Yeah, like I said, that dude, I really do like. He gives me
because he
Vincent
talks just
Price.
like Vincent Price.
Yeah, he gives me Vincent Price vibes. I love him, and I'm here for him. If I had to give out an honorable mention, it'd probably go to the mayor. But I also want to give it to Mustache Guy. I know we had talked about how the porno thing was egregious, but him and that Mission Camaro doing coke waiting for Lana, there's just something about it for me.
It's fun.
I do like it. Yeah. How about how bad Jason be stankin'?
Not bad at all.
Yeah, because
He's
it's just a man. He's
Yeah.
a normal man. So see, this is a fun question
Or
because it changes a lot.
or Jason stink worse than ever because he did. Roy smell fine.
I see what you're saying. What's your favorite scare in this one? For me, I probably have to say that it's the shears in the eyes. I know that's kind of cheating because it's technically a kill, but those are kind of intended to be scary.
In these movies,
obviously.
nothing's really scaring me in these movies.
Yeah, I think that's another thing to mention. I think that we're already like, okay, so 5 is the first one that, in my opinion, is no longer even necessarily trying to be scary.
Yeah.
Right? Like the first 4 are, trying to get some spooks. This one, I think it's more so vibes. Like from here on out, it's kind of vibes. It's weird, schlocky, B-movie vibes is kind of what they're going for.
So if we're making it, let's make it favorite scare / kill.
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to say, cut this in between you and me. It's Son of Roy.
Getting murdered?
Yeah.
Why cut it?
I'm going to say
That's a good scare.
I'm going to say Son of Roy because it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Getting
no,
killed by
it
the
really
Nazi.
is abrupt. That was one of the things that, like...
Because it's a real crime.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like any of the slasher stuff.
Yeah.
Just a real murder
Yeah.
happens at the beginning of this movie.
And that's one of the things, I instructed you to do a little bit of research before we started watching these movies. And that's the one thing I shot myself in the foot over. I was like, fuck. I should have waited a little bit. Like,
Well, because, the whole, the
Roy
it stars
thing.
over a candy bar.
Yeah.
And that, I remembered it as soon as that happened.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck, right.
But even the Roy thing, because I really did want to see
Oh,
how
I knew about Roy before we even
Okay.
started talking about watching
Okay.
these movies. Yeah.
But I really would like to one day see... I don't think it's going to go over well. I'm just curious to see someone who doesn't know that, how they react. Like, if it's like a what the fuck? Or if it's like maybe there is a little bit of like, oh, like that guy? Like, I don't know.
Also, I forgot to bring up, there's a scene that if I had not known about Roy, would have perplexed me to no end until, I guess, the end of this movie.
Oh, you talked about when the cop is like, and Roy's like, huh, you talking to me? And he's like, what, Roy? No, Roy, I wasn't talking to you, Roy.
Yeah, like, they're looking at the dead bikers, or the dead greasers. And he goes, oh, blah, blah. And then Roy goes, was that, sir? Are you talking to me? He goes, what, Roy? And he goes, oh, were you talking to me? And he goes, no, Roy, I wasn't talking to you. He goes, oh, sorry, sir, if I thought you were talking to me. And then the scene
like
just
something out of
continues.
Scooby-Doo, bro.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's why I love this movie. So yeah, best scene, worst scene.
Best scene, mayor scene. Worst scene.
I'll throw you a bone if you'd like. Tommy Jarvis ending.
Tommy Jarvis ending, or where they're at dinner right before Tommy Jarvis beats that guy up.
Oh,
and
just
they're
her.
too many plates.
Yeah.
And they're arguing about it, and the counselor comes in and goes, what is going on here? Like, his just delivery's weird, and just I don't like that scene at all.
Yeah, I guess I would probably... This feels so cheap. But yeah, one of the things that's really coming to mind right now, I guess, is probably, the neon sign thing. The 45 seconds where he just stays at the neon sign. Very odd. Least favorite, definitely Tommy Jarvis at the end.
Yeah, that sucks.
Honorable mention, pretty much anytime Reggie's on screen.
Yep, absolutely.
Reggie's
Absolutely.
great. And that wraps up part 5. We've put it to bed.
Great. Glad.
We threw a chain around its neck.
Threw it at the bottom of the river.
Put it at the bottom of the river.
Or the lake, sorry.
Yeah, river, Camp River, Crystal Lake.
And then right afterwards, we watched 6.
Camp Crystal River. That would be it. Camp Crystal River.
We watched 6. Do you want to talk about? Do you want to do the letter, or do you want to talk about how we watched it first? We'll do the letter.
Well,
first.
we can talk about how we watched it, real quick.
Yeah, you're always going on about how this movie can be watched in black and white, and so we spent. I said as soon we watched these back to back.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So I was like, hey, if we start this 6 right now, I can be in bed by 12. It'll be great.
Yeah.
And then it took us about 30 minutes to figure out how to watch this movie in black and white.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep at the end of this movie.
But anyways, yes, I think that lends into my history with this movie, which is just that, this one has always been a favorite of mine. It's the only one I've made Alicia, my partner, watch. I've just seen it a lot of times. I love this one. One of the things that I've heard about this film, is that for me?
I want to tell you about it later. Don't let me forget.
Oh, okay. Tom McLaughlin? It's like
McLaughlin?
Nick it's McLoughlin.
I think it's McLaughlin.
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 You think there's a K in there?
That's how like Kyle does it.
McLaughlin?
That's how our friend Kyle.
Okay.
I call him by first name.
I'm gonna just cut that little bit out of it. But yeah. A big part of my history with this movie is knowing that Kyle
McLaughlin.
Well, a big part of my history with this movie is knowing that Tom McLaughlin, or however the fuck you say his last name, big classic horror movie fan. And yes, I don't know exactly where I've heard it. I've heard multiple people say it, but just that he wanted this to be a movie you could watch in black and white. And I've always been interested in doing it. And as you alluded to, I offered it up as like, well, would you be interested in doing that? And yes, it was a situation.
When I jumped at it, yeah.
It was a situation. I will say that's the only way that I've seen Mad Max, Fury Road. I've never seen Fury Road in color.
I will say that's the one exception.
What?
That's even one of those movies where George Miller, director, goes, this is the definitive way to watch this movie. It's better in color.
Yeah.
Every other thing I've seen where it's like, hey, you should watch this in black and white. I'm always like, yeah, black and white is way better. It's such like a weird, shitty film schooly kid thing I still have left over in me. I think black and white is the way a movie should be, but except for Fury Road.
We'll tap into it in a second, but I think this movie really does benefit from being in black and white.
It really does.
But yeah, we spent a half hour, like it was a thing where we tried to make the TV black and white, but there was still just a little dash of color in there. Then I tried to hook up my phone to AirPlay, and I turned grayscale on, but when you AirPlay it, it still shows colors. So I was like, fuck. So then I tried to grayscale my laptop and plug it into the TV, but it was... it's a laptop that's old enough it doesn't have an HDMI cable. So then eventually I dragged the Apple TV out of my room into here. I make it sound like it was so hard, but it was really easy. And yeah, plugged that thing in, and I was able to grayscale it, and we finally watched it. So this movie starts with, I mean, I'm going to almost go shot for shot. It starts off with a shot of the moon over the trees. Then the next shot is one of those shots where they like clearly have some kind of like light or floodlight on the lake. And there's like trees and it's nighttime and there's just fog on top of the lake. Looks great.
Beautiful.
Next shot is a wild dog eating a dead carcass in the middle of the road, which is great. So love it. And then an old ass pickup truck starts barreling down the road. And I especially want to give a shout out to the way that Tom McLaughlin shot all the fucking interior conversation and car shots, because it's straight up like something out of Sin City. Like it definitely is trying to do like old school, like movies from the 30s kinds of things. Like the angles are always either like slanted and including both of them, or slanted and going back and forth from each of them, kind of a thing. And yeah, Tommy's hanging out with his buddy, and his
new
buddy,
Tommy, by the way.
New Tommy. This one's Chad Tommy. This one's chiseled, not body. We never see body, but jawline, face, he's handsome Squidward.
And he is, by all accounts, a different character from the last movie.
Yes.
Does not remember the last movie at all.
Yes.
It basically didn't happen.
Yes, absolutely. That's another thing that I think ends up working pretty well, even, or I guess even about this trilogy. This trilogy ends up reminding me again, as a whole three-piece, as a trilogy, of old classic horror movies from the 30s, because you know, like Frankenstein, it does the same thing. Like each movie is kind of continuing with the same characters, but there are huge liberties taken with the canon. But anyways, they're having a conversation about how he's like, you don't really want to go dig up Jason, do you? Isn't it enough to know he's dead? And he's like, no, I gotta make sure Jason's dead. Cut to shot of the cemetery. Great. Headstones everywhere, fog everywhere. They're wandering in. They've got a fucking lantern and they got like shovels and shit. You know, looks like something again out of Frankenstein. They dig up Jason. Jason's just a pile of maggots. And Tom Tommy goes ahead and stabs him in the chest a lot of times. It kind of reminds me of the ending of 4, because I think he's just stabbing him or whatever a couple of times. Then they go to get the gasoline because they're going to burn him or whatever, but lightning strikes. And another one of...
Oh, yeah, because he stabs him with a post from the fence.
Yeah.
So there's a big lightning conductor sticking out of Jason's dead body.
And this is another thing I love from the movie that reminds me of old monster movies, is they have this special effect of just like little strands of electricity running through his body a little bit on the surface.
I'm pretty sure is they are literally hand drawing that effect over every frame of the movie.
And it looks great. Yeah. God bless him.
I mean, great. Like, air quotes, great.
In my book, that's how I want that effect done, is what I'm saying. But yeah, so Jason comes to. He is now officially zombie supernatural Jason. He's not wearing his mask yet. Tommy, he has gotten the gasoline onto Jason, but in the first bit of comedy in this movie, as he's striking the match, it immediately starts pouring rain. Match doesn't work. I like this shot because as it's raining, the worms and maggots are washing off and falling at his feet. Yeah. That's good. They scuffle with Jason for a while. He kills Tommy's friend and then dons the mask, turns around. How do you feel about the James Bond parody that happens?
In black and white, I couldn't tell.
Oh, okay.
But I've seen it elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't like it. No. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Was James Bond real big in 1989 or whenever this movie came out in?
Maybe. I mean, I know he's 86.
I mean, he's always been big.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I think that was like the bad era of James Bond.
Yeah.
Like Thunderball and stuff like that.
All I know is
Thunderball.
Tom McLaughlin.
What's the moon one? Moonraker.
Tom McLaughlin that just asked the producers. He was like, "Hey, can I make this one funny?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure, as long as you don't make a joke out of Jason."
Remember we talked very seriously for a while about watching all the James Bond movies?
Yeah, my dad just sent me a text like yesterday, I think, saying that all of the James Bond films are coming to Amazon Prime on October 5th.
Oh, fuck yeah. Sorry about the language. Oh, heck yeah. That's very exciting because I was going to say, we got November wide open.
Yeah. No time for... Doesn't he say like something like no time for love? There's that Indiana Jones. No tomorrow, maybe? So
No Time to Die is the newest
No Time
James
to
Bond
Die?
movie, yeah.
No time to...
No one says it, but it's the name of the newest movie. No Time to Die, yeah.
Like No Time to Bond, November or something? Something like that. Well, I mean, we'll workshop it. But...
Okay.
Yeah.
We call it From Russia with Soup. We call it Soup Struck.
Ooh.
Octo Soupy. Dr. Soup. Gold Soup. Soup Finger. Quantum of Soupless.
So Tommy flees to the
Casino
sheriff's office. We find out that the camp that's been renamed Forest Green to try to forget the past and stuff. He tries to tell the sheriff, like, "Hey, Jason is alive," and the sheriff wants none of it.
None of it. Yeah.
He does not want any of it.
He's like, "All right, aren't you from that mental institution, Tommy Jarvis?"
Yeah. Yes. I don't remember how that entirely resolves offhand in that scene specifically. I don't think he like arrests him or anything like that. I think he just tells him to hit the road, right?
Yeah.
But I do know that the next scene is like a comical, over-the-top like scene where like a boyfriend girlfriend who are supposed to be counselors that are going to be working at the new, camp that's opening up get stuck in some mud, and Jason shows up and kills both of them. Couple of things to note. One, there's a bit of a humor in there when she's like, "We gotta go," and he's like, "Why?" And she's like, "Oh, well, no reason. I just have seen enough horror movies that whenever you see a guy in a mask, it's kind of time to go or whatever," and then they get stuck in the mud. The other thing I want to mention is there's a point where he stabs into the car to try to kill her, and it's such a beautiful cinematic shot of like you get the entire windshield, and then he smashes it, and it's like sugar glass, so it just shatters in like such a great way, and he's just standing there like, it looks like a monster. It looks like a movie monster from the 30s. It's a great shot.
He looks so good in black and white.
Yeah.
There's so many scenes in this where just light is just perfectly across like the top half of him, like or backlit from him, where he just the lighting on him in black and white makes him look so imposing and big, but also like shadowy and monster-esque. It's great.
Yeah. I think the next thing that happens is Tommy's back at the station, and Megan, who is the sheriff's daughter, is there with her friends, and he's trying to like warn them, and there's, you know, like the one guy with headphones that's like sitting on the desk.
I like this guy.
Yeah, and the sheriff's like, hey, get down. He's like, oh, hey, sorry, man, sorry, you know.
And he's like, Jason's here. And
yeah,
his
and his dad's
like,
still like, I'm having none of this.
don't listen to this guy. He's from an insane asylum.
Yeah.
And he just came here spitting all this stuff. And
Yeah.
Megan's like, Dad, I'm going to fuck this guy. I'm going to have sex with this crazy man.
Yeah. Already, I really do like the idea that this one finally has a plot. I think that elevates it out of the slasher genre and into, like, again, like a classic horror type deal, right? Like, because Tommy Jarvis at this point is kind of like Loomis.
Yeah.
He's running around telling the cops, hey, Michael is back. And the cops kind of don't want anything to do with it. They kind of consider...
I stabbed him 6 times.
Yeah. Then we hard cut to the only scene where Jason is played by not the actor who plays him in the rest of the
right.
movie.
I forgot about this.
Yeah. So in the movie, Jason Voorhees apparently is played by a guy named C.J. Graham. There is a guy named Dan Bradley who is uncredited but played Jason for this paintball scene. The reason why he got fired was because they hired him, and then when they went to shoot this scene, it was the first scene they shot, he apparently had put on weight between being cast and shooting, and legitimately what happened was the people making the movie were like, Jason can't be overweight. We need another Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only boobs you see in this movie are his in the scene. It's wild.
But anyways, this is another little bit of, you know, comedy. You got characters running around. It's a corporate retreat. They're all executives and they're doing paintball and stuff. And, you know, you've got a couple of guys who basically get beat by their female executive peer. And there's one guy who's like insanely over the top misogynist about how like, that dumb bitch got me. She just stayed in the kitchen and stuff. And then you have the one guy who kind of reminds me of the stapler guy from the Office Space. He's got like goggles over his glasses and he's running around commando style, like leaning on branches, and then they break and then he tries to put it back and it breaks into 3 pieces, you know. Very slapsticky this scene is. And Jason throws the misogynist guy at the tree and he gets impaled on a limb, and also his face blood splatters on a smiley face someone's carved into it. And Jason gets the triple kill with the 1 slash.
Yep.
How do you feel about this scene?
It's fine.
Yeah, this one might be my pick for the worst. I'm just going to get that out there. Not that it's like the worst thing I've ever seen. It's just the weakest part of this whole movie for me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it might be a better movie without this 3 minutes.
Yeah. They do a lot to set up these characters and their backstory for them to all die immediately.
Yeah, they do. But anyways, once we finish up the corporate... Oh, wait, hang on a second. You know what I just realized? I never read this letter.
Yeah. I thought about it, but...
Well, we're reading it right now. Friday the 13th, part 6. No, seriously, I won't write any more of these if we continue to have an active Facebook page. This one is cool in black and white, 6 out of 10. Less than 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess so. I guess whoever wrote that doesn't like Facebook or this movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. But anyways,
that's why because it was cut this. It was mean. It was a mean letter. So I was like, man, maybe it's for the best that he doesn't read it.
Oh, yeah, I guess something else that should be mentioned is that it's the misogynist guy who has the machete, so that's how he gets the machete. He rips that dude's whole arm off.
Ah, yes.
Yes. Back at the camp, the kids arrive. There's a nice gag there or whatever where, like, they're talking about Jason, and, like, the one girl goes, like, I can think of one thing scarier. And everybody's like, what? And then the bus full of kids pull up, and that's, you know, a gag. He's got a couple of gags in it.
Did we see the groundskeeper yet?
Yes, because he has... Yes, we've seen him already, but we didn't mention it because he basically is the one who shows up the night after they dig up Jason and reburies him real quick because he breaks the fourth wall, looks at the camera, and says, "Some people have a sick sense of entertainment." Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and he's like, I'm not getting fired for this shit. I'm filling this hole. Body's still in the casket.
Yeah.
Doesn't know it's the friend's body.
Yeah, this guy reminds me. Yeah, because there's like a boot sticking out. He's like, "Oh, didn't even put the body back right. Fuck that. I ain't getting in there."
Yeah, and then I might be skipping ahead, but and then Tommy Jarvis comes here.
After, I think that's what happens in the scene where we weren't really sure how it resolves. Where Megan's there, I think he might convince him to drive up there, or something, or maybe later they chase.
This is before Megan, I believe. He goes, "All right, Tommy Jarvis, you're going back."
Yeah.
Instead of me taking you there. He's
Oh
like,
yeah, he follows him out of town.
yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
I was going to have someone pick you up, but no, I'm making you get out of here I'm taking you out of here. And by
Yeah.
that, he means I'm going to follow you in my truck.
Yeah.
And Tommy makes a run for it to the cemetery.
Right. And when they get there, yeah, egg on his face because the caretaker's already buried him. Caretaker gives me big, this is like a Stephen King side character for sure. Stephen King loves having
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so the kids have shown up.
And I love it. It's a fun little cut where the groundskeeper goes, what does he think? I'm a doo-doo head or whatever he says.
Yeah.
And then it hard cuts to the kids going, yeah.
Yes. But anyways, in response to the grave situation, Tommy gets handcuffed and, yeah, escorted out of town for real and told never to return. Then we cut to the caretaker getting murdered. He's walking around calling his bottle of liquor Patricia or something like that. And he's getting hammered, and Jason's...
Do they get names every new bottle he gets?
Hey.
Or are they all Patricia?
Hey, maybe it's like, maybe it's like a little like Diane situation,
Yeah, but Diane's a real person.
I know, but you at least don't know that in the original Twin Peaks kind of thing. He just keeps calling this, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That kind of a thing. So yeah, what I'm saying is maybe it is always Patricia. Yes. So there is also a couple in the woods who are doing like a picnic just so they can bang for a second. And the one guy wanders off and bumps into Jason. Then he runs back and he's like, "We got to get out of here." And she's like, "What? Why?" And he's like, "Because of that." And Jason's right there. Another scene that just feels right out of a 1950s B movie. Like just a couple, just a man and a woman in a dress sitting on a, picnic blanket. Like this one is very like conservative comparatively.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in that kind of like, not that I really think this one has Twin Peaks vibes, but like in that Twin Peaksy way, like just that slice of Americana, like classic man-woman picnic blanket. You know what's gonna go down, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I feel like they're out here doing this picnic because the malt shop was closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also then get the RV scene with your man, the MP3 player headset guy.
Oh,
MP3 players didn't exist yet.
Yep.
They're having
The Walkman
sex in a RV.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You gave me that fun fact.
Which was?
She's wearing a shirt
Oh, right.
while they're having sex.
Yeah.
Because...
They forgot to write nudity into the contract, and she signed it.
When they got there, they're like, "Oh, you're supposed to be naked," and she's like, "You know what? No." And I'm like, "Good for you, girl."
Yeah, good. Basically, what happens is she realizes the RV's been unplugged, and she's like, "Hey, Court, go take care of that." And he's like, "What? Fuck that! It's cold out there." She's like, "It's cold in here. Go plug it back in." He's like, "Well, who unplugged it?" And she's like, "It doesn't matter. Go plug it in." So they do, but then I think they see Jason, and he's like, "Oh fuck, gotta get out of here," or whatever. And he's like, starts to turn over the car, and I love that he's like, "This can't be happening," or whatever. And she's like, "You're right." And she flicks the switch that like turns it back into being a car and not just a stationary house, And he's like, "Oh yeah, baby," and they get going. But what they don't know is that Jason is actually on board, and he kills her in the shitter.
I wrote it down because he can't hear her dying in the shitter because he's got music blaring and he's driving this house. He says something like, "I've never driven a house before. This handles really well."
Yeah.
And what does he say? He's driving and he goes verbatim. He goes, "This is great. I'm having such a good time." Also, something else we forgot.
Yeah.
They're trying to, when they're at the graveyard with Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah.
Tommy Jarvis is like trying to wrestle out of there or whatever, and the sheriff's like deputy pulls out a gun with the biggest laser sight we've ever seen. And do you remember what he says?
Yes. Oh yeah, I do. He's like, "Wherever the red dot goes, you bang."
It's great.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
We got two in one night. We got crap my ass, and wherever the red dot goes, you bang.
But anyways, Jason ends up killing Court as well and flipping this whole fucking thing, and then you get another very iconic shot. Not necessarily my favorite shot of Jason, but the RV's flipped over and smoking, and he's standing on top of it like some kind of monster on the loose. Anyways, the sheriff learns about this while in the presence of Megan and Tommy. I almost said Johnny. That's very funny. And he basically is like, lock this kid up. He did it. And Megan's like, no, what time did this happen? She's like, I don't know. He's like, 8:39. And she's like, Dad, Tommy was with me the whole time. He's like, I don't care, get in that jail cell. And he's like, I gotta go off and do some police work, right?
He's like, I don't care. If I put him in a jail cell, he can't have sex with you, so.
Yeah. I think Jason kills a couple of people back at the cabin.
For sure.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm dead asleep.
Okay, well then I'll do the heavy lifting. What happens is back at the jail cell, basically, the most important thing is that Megan uses a sketch pad that she's writing on to like show a message to Tommy with a plan on it, presumably because the audience can't see it, and they act out this little scene together. I love their chemistry. They're very good together. He goes like, hey, what are you drawing over there? And she's like, what's it to you, kind of a thing. And he's like, nothing or whatever, I just want to see it or whatever. She shows him and he's like, oh, that's a piece of shit or whatever. She's like, hey, that's kind of a dick thing to say or whatever. And then I think she like ends up like dropping the pad, and he like grabs it real quick, and she's like, hey, come on, give that back. And he's like, no, I'm giving that shit back or whatever. And so
I'm Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, the deputy gets involved, and he's like, hey, scumbag, give it back, kind of a thing, but he doesn't stand up just yet. And she goes over there to try to grab it, and he grabs her, and then she kisses him, and at first he's like startled because she's like really kissing him, but then he kind of gets into it a little bit, and then the deputy's like, hey, what is this? Hands off her, Jarvis. What the fuck is this? Then they basically like, Tommy grabs onto him, she grabs the gun, right, and she's pointing at him, and he's like, let him out of the jail cell, and also you get into the jail cell. And she's like, what are you doing or whatever? And she says something about him having a funny red nose because of the laser scope, and Tommy says, hey, don't you remember, wherever the red dot goes, ya bang.
Does he say it again?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, he says it back to him. And so they put him in the jail cell. They're on the loose now, and she's like, hey, I want to go with you. And he's like, no go, sister. But they do go together. They go to Home Depot or whatever to get a big old chain because he's got a plan. Because I forgot, there is a shot earlier where he's doing research. He's just sitting in his truck cracking open a 400-page book called like Occultism. So no way he finished it. Definitely skimmed it. But anyways,
he's like, I'm gonna get a bunch of these chains. I'm gonna make a big net.
Yeah. I think what's going on is that the sheriff has gone to Camp Crystal Lake or for Camp Forest Green or whatever now because of like something's going on over there that's been reported or whatever. Anyways, he gets there. I think his deputy might get there first. And a couple of the deputies, like one of them finds the little girl who has like a speaking role. Like she says like, oh, I saw a horrible monster earlier in the movie. She's also the one that has like,
I remember this.
Jean-Paul Sartre or whatever, laying on her stomach, no exit. But anyways, he bumps into her and she's like, there's a boogeyman out there. And he's like, yeah, what do you mean a boogeyman? There's no boogeyman. And she's like, then what's that? And he's right there and kills him.
Doesn't
whatever.
she at one point go, I found this outside? It's just a big machete.
It is a big machete, yes, to one of the counselors. There's another guy who gets murdered by Jason just straight up throwing a knife into his head, which is something that's a big part of the Friday the 13th video game.
Yeah.
But anyways, the sheriff finally gets there. He doesn't necessarily know about the murders of his deputies or the other people entirely. I think he finds a big room covered in blood, which a couple of people have seen now. But he immediately rushes over to the girls' cabin, and it's one of my favorite shots. He tells them like, come on, we're gonna go over here, whatever, just stay calm, kind of a thing. But there's just this shot of like him single file, like leaving the cabin and going into the woods with like all the kids following them, and it's great. It's great. I also love, like, this is the first movie where like the kids are actually there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These movies always end up taking place like, oh, we're gonna open up this summer, bro, But anyways, I really do think that this movie benefits from the kids being around. Like I said, like just that little interaction of the sheriff, like getting all the kids together and then putting them in the boys' like cabin or whatever, and being like, all right, I want you guys to get low, get under the beds, and just stay quiet. You guys are gonna be fine. I'll be back in a second. Great, love that stuff.
Yeah, it adds a little bit of suspense to it. Anyway, what happens next?
Okay.
While this is happening, I'm going honk shoe.
We cut to T-Jar. He is rolling a giant boulder. Megan comes up and is like, well, there's crazy stuff going on. He's like, Megan, go be safe. And she's like, I'll go be safe, T-Jar. And he's setting up his whole boat with like the chain and the rock thing, and she runs off. But then he hears her scream over. He's like, Megan, come back, or something like that. Whatever. I will say, right about here, what ends up happening is he gets Jason to come towards him. He's like on this boat with the rock and the chain that he's going to put on Jason. Jason starts walking straight into the lake. Very unsettling, very monstrous. And Tommy's just kind of waiting, and then he like pours a little bit of gasoline on top of like the water or whatever and lights it on fire. Stays lit for much longer than that would happen if it were even possible, because it's a movie. But he then like jumps out of the water or whatever, and he's like a little on fire, and this whole thing just has like big time, you know, Universal monster third act. Like everything's on fire, and the monster and man are now duking it out, kind of a thing. Like they're wrestling and shit. And he's trying to get that chain on Jason's neck, and he does, and then he doesn't actually have to get the boulder over. I thought that was genius. Jason like kind of body slams the whole thing and breaks the thing. So then the rock ends up pulling him down, but he's still got T-Jar. And T-Jar ends up kind of like drowning too, I think. But, you know, like not before. What, does she come by with the boat then and like cut up his face, or?
Yeah, she turns the boat on, I think. And he just keeps getting chewed up in the motor.
Yeah. Because she has to like swim him back to shore and do CPR on him to bring him back to life, which again reminds me of the Universal monster movies, because that's the kind of thing that happens like with like Frankenstein. I don't know if you remember the ending, but like they're fighting in the windmill, and then he gets thrown out and he hits the thing or whatever, and it's like, oh, that dude dead. But then it hard cuts to like him in bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like same thing. Like T-Jar was definitely unconscious in the water long enough that he dead. But in classic Universal monster fashion, he not dead. And then under the water, I think the way that we end is just with some kind of like atmospheric shots of him, Jason, just kind of like floating with the chain around his neck, and we see his eyes still open, and then it's kind of over. In my opinion, finally breaking the Friday the 13th curse of not knowing how to end the fucking movie.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's a great final shot.
Yeah. And that's part 6 in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say about, in my opinion, this is probably the best Friday the 13th in terms of like taking everything into consideration.
Okay.
Like this is a pretty sound movie. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it's sound.
I think
it has a plot, is what I'm saying.
Vibe-wise, which is what we've been grading a lot of this on.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie, I'm pretty bored by.
Okay.
I love the opening.
Yeah.
And then I love the ending.
Yeah.
Everything in the middle is just hogwash to me. Like, I don't care about the sheriff or his daughter or really Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah.
Or the kids or any of the counselors. I just don't fuck with a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
But it looks incredible.
Yeah.
But besides that, also to be fair, I was fighting for my life to stay away for a lot of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I just like it because I'm a big fan of Universal horror movies, and this is like beat for beat a Universal horror movie. Yeah. Like this is what a horror,
and what I love about those movies is what I love about this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the first time, Jason has someone who is aware that he's out there, and in a capable manner, has a plan, has read up a little bit on the occult.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Overall, this one's probably also getting a B+ from me.
I'm giving this one a C+.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's tricky at this point. Like, that's one of the tough things about the series is like obviously there's something in there in each one of them. I'm not saying it's more than like 5 to 10 minutes of each of these. Is there something worthwhile? But like, I mean, we're 6 deep. I mean, at this point, like, which one is the one that you say like, oh, this is what I would tell someone who's never seen a Friday the 13th movie they have to watch? 4.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But anyways, let's talk about Jason's Drip. You love this one? You love the yellow gloves?
I think this is the best.
You didn't get to see the yellow gloves.
Yeah, but I've seen him before.
Yeah.
I think this is the best he's ever looked. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people get very upset with the fact that he has a little utility belt. They say he looks a little too much like Batman.
Yeah, fuck him. He looks great. I don't care.
I gotta say, I think Jason looks good in this one. I think this is one of the better ones, but I still think 3 to 4 era is my personal favorite, but I do like it in this one, especially in black and white. Like, he just looks like a Universal monster.
Yeah.
So it's really close to being pretty good. It's just, I don't know, there's something about 3 to 4 era, like just bald head, big hunchback. Like, vibes overall, I think we've pretty much hammered that into the ground.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
Yeah, this one's a Universal monster movie. Overall ranking for you?
We're going to put this one above 3.
Above 3.
Put it above 2.
Okay, so next new ranking is 5, 4, 6, 2, 3, 1. And mine is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Let's see, favorite character. This one's very light on characters, I feel like. I mean, there are people here, but it's not as good as the other one where, like, everybody stands out as much. There are people who are genuinely just fodder. Like I said, like, that whole, like, paintball thing. Honestly, most of the counselors, like, I really don't care about the counselors.
That's what I've been getting at. Mine's Jason.
But they're not main, I mean, they're just not the main characters. The main characters are Tommy and Megan, and like I said, like, they have a lot of decent interactions. Like, I like how, like, just like they haven't known each other, but they just gel. They get that plan going. It's good. There's some good stuff in there. They fill each other's gaps.
She's got gaps, I got gaps, we fill gaps.
But yeah, favorite character if you had to pick one?
Jason.
Okay. I'm probably gonna say, yeah, I mean, that's fair. It probably,
because he's nothing, but people are bad in this, so
yeah,
it's either Jason or Headphones Guy. I'm having a great time.
Yeah. I'm gonna give honorable mention to Court, but I genuinely like Megan in this one. I'll probably say Megan. How bad Jason be stankin'?
The worst.
Yeah, this is a zombie.
Because he's a reanimated corpse. Yeah,
he's a reanimated corpse.
He got that rot.
He does have that rot. Which raises another question. Do you think you smell Jason before you heard him? He's coming up on you?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Favorite scare?
Favorite scare?
Oh, this is an opportunity for me to talk about something I didn't mention. There's a lot of shots like this throughout the movie that just like lend credence to the Universal monster thing I was talking about and you've been talking about. But there's like a scene where one of the camp counselors puts the little girl to bed and she's walking, but Jason's in the window, like just behind her, walking along with him. That's a good one.
I don't think I caught that.
It's a great shot. Yeah. Yeah.
Tim coming out of the grave. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's mine.
Okay. I'm going to say favorite scare. It's going to be a tie between that shot where she's slowly walking from like bed to bed, just turning her head, looking to make sure everybody's in bed. And then just behind her, like just above her head, you can see him walking outside. And the other one that I'm putting right next to it is, like I said, that shot of him breaking the windshield and just being right there. It's really good. Best scene, worst scene. I've already let the cat out of the bag on the worst scene. I don't really think the paintball thing needs to be in there. Best scene, I mean, yeah, probably that third act. This is probably the best third act for Jason so far, I think.
I agree. Wholeheartedly on both.
Yeah. And I think that pretty much...
You know, it's a kid when you're like coughing and your parents think you're choking and people tell you to put your hands in the air.
Yeah, why?
Does that do anything?
I don't know.
Oh.
I know in cartoons when they put their finger right underneath your nose right here to not sneeze.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
You press up on that bone as hard as you can and you won't sneeze. So there you go.
Speaking of scary movies.
Yeah. So I think that's that. Mattress Man.
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,